Look, would you please show some manners to the people who are asking? Sorry, would you stay quiet, the whole lot of you? Show respect to the person asking the question and the person replying. Please, no matter what party you're in, or none. Thank you.
Deputy Taoiseach, I spoke this morning with Daniel Long. He's the father of Orla, a 6-week-old baby, a little girl who was forced to be at 11 hours in A&E for a bed at Cork University Hospital. Orla, with her father and mother, Debbie Mooney, was referred to hospital as she was unable to hold her bottle down. She kept getting sick and she showed signs of dehydration. She was admitted to A&E at 11:20 p.m. on Sunday the 22nd of November, but she only got a bed at 10:30 the following day. Taoiseach, isn't it an indictment of your government's stewardship of our health service that a 6-year-old child and her parents were put through such an ordeal? Isn't it particularly so because such unfairness to citizens like Orla is no longer unusual on your watch? It's the norm. Taoiseach, you promised to reform our health service. You promised to end the scandal of patients on trolleys. You promised to end the two-tier system of unequal access to health care. You promised free GP care for all. You promised an end to prescription charges. You promised the abolition of the HSE, but you delivered none of this, Taoiseach. In fairness, you never promised universal health care, because of course you're opposed to universal health care, and that's why Orla ended up on a trolley. That's why 25 out of 29 emergency departments have seen increased overcrowding. That's why there are delayed discharges, a shortage of home care packages and a lack of nursing home beds. The fact is, Taoiseach, your government, Fine Gael and Labour, is responsible for a health service in complete chaos. So Taoiseach, isn't Orla's disturbing case further evidence that your government has no intention of adequately resourcing the health service and bringing in universal health care?
Thank you. Taoiseach.
Wrong again, Deputy Adams. The government concluded on the supplementary estimate for health this morning, which is a serious increase on what was there for the last number of years, and that's all aimed within the prudent management of the economy to attempt to provide the very best level of service that we can for patients of the country. The government remain committed to universal health care and the provision of a single-tier system. The government, as you know, introduced free GP care for under-6s. The government, as you know, introduced free GP care for over-70s. The government's next part of that strategy is to provide free GP care for the children of all working families. I don't accept your assertions at all. Now, the point you mentioned about the little baby is real, and I empathise completely with the parents in this case, whose child was sent to the hospital by the general practitioner because the little baby was dehydrated. What can one say about the fears and the anxieties and the concerns of parents, particularly about a young baby? Cork University Hospital are carrying out an investigation into why this child was on a trolley for 11 hours. I'm glad to note, however, the little baby Orlath Ciancorla is recovering well at home and making good progress. I think that's something that everybody will appreciate. I don't know the reasons, Deputy Adams, why the little child was left on the trolley for that length of time. The University Hospital management have asked the question, and an investigation is being carried out in that regard. I would say to you that, in general, the fact that emergency departments are a priority in regard to dealing with the question of overcrowding, which happens for a variety of reasons, as you're well aware. 450 additional hospital beds are being opened to help to relieve that pressure. These are either new beds or ones that were previously closed. 200 have opened to date, and the remainder are due to open in the next couple of weeks before the end of the year. So it's imperative that, in that regard, that all relevant parts of the health service, including acute, social and primary care, would use their resources at their disposal to the very best use in respect of dealing with this particular problem. But in respect of the question that you raised initially, I'm glad that the little child is recovering well. I'm sorry that she was on a trolley for those hours, and I expect that the management of the hospital will respond to the Minister and to the HSE as to why that actually happened.
Deputy Adams, 1 minute, thank you.
Well, I have no doubt, Taoiseach, that you are sorry, but it's not good enough. You're 5 years in office. You're 5 years in that seat as the Taoiseach of a government which made all of these promises. This morning I also spoke to Denise Toohey, who's been told that she has to pay €75 a day for a trolley in Our Lady of Lourdes in Drogheda. Denise spent 4 days in hospital. To make matters worse, Denise's son Jake has a rare genetic condition, but he doesn't have a medical card. He's 5 years old. He has only a GP visit card. Denise now owes €700 in medical bills. She told me that the nurses are fabulous, but the system is letting patients down. And Denise, Taoiseach, is right.
Question, please.
She says she feels degraded. I won't be long, Concordia. Yep. She's worked all her life. She's paid taxes. She says this isn't about her. It's about older people. It's about youngsters like her son Jake. She's been released from hospital this afternoon. She has to bring her son Jake to the doctor.
Please.
If she brings him to the hospital, she will have to pay again. And you, Taoiseach, are responsible for this. You're responsible for a health service in chaos. And there's no point saying you're sorry. The fact is you are in charge. And the reality is that this government, led by Fine Gael, supported by Labour, will not adequately resource our hospitals because you do not believe in a public health model. And isn't this is my question, Concordia, isn't this why A&E overcrowding is getting worse? Isn't this why citizens, including Denise, her son Jake, and a little baby like Orla, are treated like second-class citizens in your two-tier health service?
Taoiseach.
Well, if you had said sorry yourself a few times in the past, it might have helped matters as well. And of course, you don't use the Irish Public Health Service in the first place. Now, the case that you mentioned, Deputy, the good lady who was.
Sorry, the Taoiseach can answer the question himself.
Good lady who was admitted to the hospital and was on a trolley in the emergency department was then.
Sorry, would you please stay quiet till we hear the reply? Thank you.
I don't take directions from you, but if you want your people there to maybe hold their silence, you might hear.
Sorry, Deputy, it was your own deputy in the back there who's making noise. Sorry.
No,
would you please stay quiet?
At all.
Thank you.
The Taoiseach is not mumbling, and he doesn't take directions from the leader of Sinn Féin. So if you can't hear, please ask your deputies behind you to hold their silence.
You don't want to hear
lady.
Sorry, would you please stay quiet? That's it.
The good lady who was admitted to hospital on a trolley in the emergency department was later moved to a ward. She was on a trolley in that ward. The hospital have waived the charge against that period. And obviously, I don't know the circumstances of her son Jake. There's a very flexible system for application for medical cards where difficulties are had by any person, child or not, and I expect that can be reflected in the system that applies there. So if you think, Deputy Adams, that it's not appropriate to say sorry in these cases, then I disagree with you. Maybe if you had said it yourself a few times in the past, it might have helped us.
Thank you. Deputy Fitzmaurice. Thank you.